Hey everyone, welcome and thank you so much for being here with me today. You are now tuned in to the podcast of Journey of a Healed Success Stepper. I'm Dr. Dorinashine. I am an official success stepper, who has been through a lot. And that's what this podcast playlist is all about. When you have gone through the dark night and transitioned to the reality and you found yourself wandering in the wilderness, like what the hell happened, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Step number 11. During this time of my criminal case, State of Ohio versus drdorinashine, at this point, I was awakening to the reality that the healing had taken place. So it's always a good thing when you can awaken to the reality that you've survived something. You didn't even know you were going through a war, but you came out victorious. Kind of like in the Bible, Jonah and being in the belly of the whale, okay? Daniel being in the lion's den. Job being disrespected by his own wife and losing so many things, not knowing that he was in a war. But as he was elevating and growing to who he was becoming, society and people who were watching him, they were watching what was happening as well. So step number 11 is so powerful. It's a very inspiring, powerful tool of success that can drive you to the elevation of awareness to where even when the enemy plays his game in the game of life, you as a success stepper will also have a goal. And your goal is to defeat the game of life. So come on, let's go to step number 11 so we can get a little bit more in depth. So here we go. So step number 11 is allowing others. Let others believe what they want to believe about you. Let them feel how they want to feel about you. You know who you are. You know what journey you've endured. And it says, allow others allow others to think about you how they choose. You are you are who you are. If you are who you say you are, a superstar, have no fear. The camera's here. And guess what? That camera is going to reflect so much of your power, so much of your divinity, so much of your inspiration until you're going to thank yourself for who you show up as becoming. And that's one thing that the enemy's playbook does not bank upon. The enemy's playbook does not bank upon you surviving. The enemy's playlist is all about losing. It's all about the enemy's playbook is all about you losing, all about you being embarrassed, all about you not rising to the occasion of your high vibrational self. And so until you do so, you will remain a habit to the form of what victimhood is all about. You're only a victim one time. This is what we teach in our studies here. As success steppers, it only happened once. After that, you buy into the victimhood. You buy into the perpetrator's demise, okay? So the goal of a success stepper is to make sure that you don't buy into things that don't serve your higher good. And once I realized that I had graduated from college, and once I realized that I had stepped right back into the entrepreneur world and believed in myself that very first year, making $50,000 without having even known what the hell I was really doing, it was amazing. It was so powerful to me because I said, I can really do this. I can do this while waiting on bond, making a decision that I'm going to live for the moment. I'm going to break free from what the enemy's playbook portrayed for my life. Do you know there are certain people who are watching your children, the generation under you, so they will know how to assist them in the enemy's demise. Literally, They don't even have to go in and check the credentials to see. They just know for a fact that the child or the group of children or the group of individuals who are in this family dynamic is going to constantly continue to be the same scenario for everyone thereafter. But what happens when you survive? What happens when you become a success stepper? What happens when you defeat the enemy at his own playbook game? What happens when you are no longer the pawn, no longer the bishop, no longer the queen, no longer the king on the chessboard, no longer, the horseman? But what happens when you become the expansion of the chessboard? That tells where people are to be, how far they can go. Because you are the intricate working of who you are becoming, who you are right now. So there's nothing that the enemy can play or plot against you that you're not already equipped to understand and know. So it's not about people, playing their 1-2, doing what they do. Let them do that, because that is what the enemy has been equipped to doing. The narcissist doesn't know how to do anything but to not feel, to allow things to go the way they want them to go. And then the bully is only controlled by the narcissistic practice that, allows them the access to move on the board. But the 25% of people who are blind, deaf, and dumb at the time, who elevates to the higher vibrational awakened self, they now have the tools to heal. They now have the awareness to empower themselves. And from that awareness, they become their better version. And it's amazing how when you go back to where you stopped, see, in a mindset of a physical low vibrational frequency, when you stop doing what you was doing on the path of this enlightenment, and then you go heal, you start right back at the place you were at the exact time you were distracted. The failure comes from you making a decision. Now, the universe can do one or two things. The first thing, they can give you exactly what you want because you manifest particularly for the goal you set out to succeed on. That's what the true success stepper's goal is, to succeed, right? So there's a balance. There's always, for every duality, there's always a duality. So on one hand, you have the expectation of your manifestation, the thing that you authentically proposed in your mind that you were ready for. And then here comes the alternate. The alternate is a decision that says, well, you can have this. Let's go see what's behind door number 1. Or would you like to see what's behind door number 2? And that comes specifically when you can't manifest in a way where you know 100% that this is what it is you desire for your life. That's what step 11 taught me, that others can think about me the way that they want to think about me, but the reality is how I think and feel about myself. I could care less about throwing my future away to give someone else an opportunity. That right there shows that people pleasing is more important than the success of your own future. So in that, you got to ask yourself the question, why be the chess pieces on the board? Why not expand the board to where you can play the game that you want to play as a success stepper and walk away with all of the benefit? This is what the enemy has done all this time. Wasted unsurmountable amount of time in your life and prevented you from getting to where you were supposed to be going. Distracted you on all levels. You know what I'm saying? Came to steal, kill, and destroy. Came to rob. Came to do all that. But when you have elevated to your higher self, they don't know what you even have in order to know that you have something to rob, kill, or steal. So they don't have the credentials. They can only get to the lower vibrational level of narcissistic behavior. That's as far as they can go. And you should be very proud of yourself for having made it through, still in your right state of mind. They told you you were psychotic. They may have called us grandiose. They also may have said that we had a beautiful mind. They also may have said that they were going to say some things to doubt our future. Why? Because when we find out we're here, when we find out what the enemy has done, the enemy trick book is no good any longer. They're not going to go and revamp that book either. You got to remember, the enemy is cunning but very lazy. The enemy is very superficial. The enemy wants to swap lives so that they can say that they did and throw you away. Have no care in the world. They want you to trust their every move, their every waking thought, their imagination, their, scams, their spams, their whatever. But what happens with the authenticity of a person when they realize that this is being played and done by the enemy? They rise. They rise to the occasion. And before you know it, it's like putting together a piece of a puzzle. You can never put the piece of the puzzle together until you're sitting down with all of the pieces laid before you. You have to start to plug and use your mind and add this color to this color and then look at the already completed image and then duplicate that. Some people have photogenic memory. It's amazing. You're wonderful. So you're able to look at an image and then put the color codes together, and before you know it, the pieces of the puzzle, 1,000-piece puzzle, becomes one big picture within an hour. And that's what I want you to understand. You have that qualification. You have that opportunity to do just that. Allow it all to make sense, and others can think of you the way that they want to think of you, but it is what you think of yourself. See, at this time, I started saying to myself, I don't care what these people say about me in this court system, because they didn't know me before I showed up on their door. And I only showed up on their door because of what someone in their community decided to do to me. That's when I went to meet the very group of people that were going to judge me. But if the state of awareness that was in that community had have stayed in their own lane, then I probably, maybe would have got it together without the influence of something that was involuntarily ingested. Maybe the lacing would never have happened. But here we are today. And so Meta AI and Google and the internet has me in this big space in the internet world. State of Ohio versus drdorinashine, meaning drdorinashine is just a poisonous individual who's an addict. But there was so much more to my story. And there's so many people in this world that has a story, but they've been shut out by embarrassment, humiliation, disrespect, by the very same system that judges them. Do you think this is intentional? Something you should ask yourself. So shout out to the universities that are working with me. Shout out to those who are strong enough to understand that it's not about the criminal justice system having major control. It is about people who are coming into their system with the story of no prior conviction and no post-conviction. After a situation so devastating that takes place that they've already admitted to. Follow them, track them, see what takes place. In those 5 years being on bond, I'm sure the court system would have noticed that I was really legitimately telling the truth. Now I surround myself with people who will not take advantage of the reality that I trust them. It takes a lot to gain my trust. And I'm not paranoid. I have no fear of life. I have no fear of going amongst people. I just choose to not do it. There's a difference when you can't do it and you choose not to do it. So don't get it twisted. I'm not paranoid in any way, shape, or form. It's not in my dockets. It's not, and I've been cleared by many of the most intellectual doctors that are very respected in the psychiatric industry. So the last thing that I want anyone to do is assume that I have some type of mental health issue because of a situation that took place in my life. I am not a victim. I wasn't a victim back then. I was only a victim one time, and that was when I walked into that neighbor's door that night, March 23rd, 2011, at 6 p.m. or 4 p.m., and I drank something that was already made up for me. How many of us have done that with our neighbor? Something to think about. And there's a different terminology that I want the university to help me create under the Emotional Healing Solutions program. Lacing just seems to be very minuscule, like as if you're putting a piece of lace over a face or something, putting a mask on or something. I want lacing to mean, the terminology to mean so much more, because people have literally lost their lives because they didn't even know they were sleeping with the enemy. Many people have been scarred by the system because they didn't want them to do or speak at a time what they were talking. And so they did whatever they needed to do to shut them up. Some people have been so envious and jealous that they can't allow to see somebody go emotionally higher than what they have been, so they try to pull them back. Kind of like the crab in the bucket, barrel in the bucket type thing. But the crabs don't have any emotion, just how to grip on. Crabs don't have emotions, just like the Tin Man don't have a damn heart. But Jiminy Cricket, it's only one, and that's the consciousness within inside your mind. It's only one Jiminy Cricket. Pinocchio showed us that. The more you lie, the more your nose grows, the more you're not able to fake it to make it, the more people start to see the true mask. And Jiminy Cricket is just a little cricket in your ears telling you, putting brand new heavies in your ear. The honest truth. And it's a heavy, heavy concept to that. As I speak to staff members, as I speak to volunteers of nonprofit organizations, as I speak to school cafeteria workers, as I speak with individuals and principals and higher officials, executives, I want you to understand that the process is how to empower your people to understand discernment. Go from lower vibrational frequency to higher awareness of self. Once you're there, you're going to be able to discern. See, at that point, when I went to my neighbor, the last thing I was thinking was that my neighbor would harm me. Who wants to think that? But I also had some red flags. Now that I'm more healed and more aware and more awakened, I see some of the red flags that I should have paid attention to that day, that the 18 months made me see. When I was institutionalized, those 18 months made me see that I could lose. And then I was given the opportunity. I was given 3 doors. Look, this is how the universe works. So the Most High will give you exactly what you discern in your life, whatever you desire. So at a time when I was unaware, unawakened, I was given 3, here goes the universal wheel of fortune. You can pick what's behind door number 1, which is 32 years of your life. And you deal with that consequence. And it's based upon all of the things you've ever done in your life. and how well you think of yourself. Or you can choose behind door number 2, where you go, you maybe stay on bond 5 years, get checked out, heal yourself. The whole system is watching, the world is watching. So you have the whole platform to do with what you want. Nothing will happen to you. You will be safe, and you'll get 18 months and then 2 years on parole, which will break down to a year, and then you're all done. Or you can go step number 3. You can be egotistical, you can blame the system, you can decide that you're going to fight the power. So these were all the choices, and I didn't know what was behind door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3. And I chose a certain door. And that's what the universe does. It gives us opportunities and options to choose this day what we're going to do. And I'm so grateful I took going to trial and waiting those 5 years and paying all those. Who would have thought I would have had thousands of dollars in parking, tickets where I had to pay to park just to go to court, to sit down for an hour or two, to be analyzed by the system in order to see if I was really producing what I said I was. Building my patience, building my stamina, building my awareness, making me think this is where I expanded the chessboard. And I said, no, I'm going to give myself some other moves. Because the queen can do whatever she wants to do on the chessboard. The bishop can, move the pawns however they want to move them. The king can do whatever he wants. But where does the observer go? What does the true player of the game truly do as a success stepper? They make their own agenda by creating the playbook to the success stepper to defeat the enemy's play games. Because we didn't know it was a war. We didn't know we were in a game. And many people have lost their lives in the game. So I want you to think about this. In my step 11 of Emotional Healing Solutions program that basically brought me back to life, this is where I resuscitated the higher version of the reality of who I was going to become eventually. I knew that there was a platform I was working to be at. Had no idea. I thought it would be R. Kelly and going through the documents and, having a voice there. That was only the stepping stone to the mindset that I now hold, which is the Emotional Healing Solutions program, which definitely is involved in impacting the emotional strategies that you need in order to fulfill the destiny that you're going. You do have a destiny. Don't use it for unnecessary purposes. Use it for something that's great. All right? So I thank you so much for being here, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing to this podcast. If anything has tapped into your energy, something you feel, something you would like to share, my email is shinedorina@gmail.com. You can email me there if you want to be on the podcast, if you want to share your journey with me. I'm here to listen, and I would love to have you on the show. So it's just an amazing time. And I'm so grateful for the executives and directors and, individuals who are in position to help me get this information out there to innocent individuals who have no idea this type of thing, lacings or, disproportionate minority confinement in the criminal justice system, or even emotional imbalance and emotional instability exist. Because I know as a college graduate, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about making my life work for me based upon where I was in life. I wasn't thinking about someone hurting or harming me. But when you wear rose-tinted glasses, you come out with a whole different version. You can keep that version, But you have to learn to shift and go between ethers in order to find out how you did it. So that, it's not about you going to share that part of the journey with anyone. It's about letting others see that it is possible, and they have to go on the journey for themselves. They're going to have to hit their dark nights of the soul and their challenges in order to realize that this really exists. So thank you so much for being here, and we will see you tomorrow with the final step number 12 of Emotional Healing Solutions. Have a great one.